Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of laws of exponents. This is standard A.11B in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 28 of the 2018 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we need to find an equivalent expression, and we've got all kinds of stuff happening there. So let's deal with just this top real quick. So this q to the fourth, and then it's wrapped around to the negative third. All right, we can actually look at that two different ways. So let's look at this, power of a power. This is on your mathematics chart or your reference materials. You're going to see this. A to the m power, and then if all of that is to the n power, what that means is you simply, since it's the same base, you just take your two exponents, your m and the n, and you multiply them. So I could take my q, and it can just be 4 times negative third. Okay, so that's going to equal q to the negative 12th. Okay. Either way, we need to see what happens when we have negative exponents. So here's something else that's on our mathematics chart or reference materials. It's this. When you get a to the negative n, it's the same as the reciprocal. All it does is it keeps the integer the same. It just flips it into a fraction, puts it in the denominator. It takes the reciprocal. So if I've got q to the negative 12, that's going to be 1 over q to the 12. So we need to put it into a fraction in the denominator. Now we could have done that straight from here, right? We could have said, all right, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to, since it's got that negative 3, I'm going to say 1 over q to the fourth, and then take that to the third, and then we're going to need to do 1 over q times q to the 4 times 3, and that's also going to equal 1 over q to the 12. So either way, our numerator, right, we haven't even touched our denominator, is 1 over q to the 12. So our denominator here, and I'll deal with this separately, we can combine them in just a moment, it's going to be 1 over q to the negative 15. So since it is that negative exponent, right, we can view it like this. 1 over q to the 15, right? To get rid of that negative exponent, you take the reciprocal. Well, if you have a fraction and you have a fraction in the denominator, what ends up happening is you end up just flipping this. It just becomes q to the 15. Just over 1, but really we just drop it. So if we put these together, what we ended up with was, we ended up with q to the 15 over q to the 12. Because this 15 just flipped up to the top. These two multiplied to make negative 12, which means they came to the bottom. So we're switching spots. So now we have the same base. So now we need to look at one more laws of exponents, and it's the quotient of powers. Also on our mathematics chart, it says if you have a to the m over a to the n, it's the same as just taking that base and subtracting your two exponents. Now, that's the key, is we need to have the same base. The base here is q. If one was a q, one was r, we wouldn't be able to do this. So I can just take this and say, all right, q to the 15 minus 12, which just makes q to the third, or q cubed. So we did all of this mess, and it just ends up being q to the third power. And so there we go. That is our answer, H.